the quality of your application is a byproduct of your GMAT score.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Study Abroad podcast. Today, I have with me Dev Mehta. He is an entrepreneur and an alum from the Oxford MBA program in the UK. Today, we'll be talking about life in the UK. Why did Dev decide to go to the UK, and then talk about his venture as well. How much of his venture's success he owes to the MBA program, and a lot more discussion around his MBA admissions journey as well. So
Yeah.
we'll cover all of that and a lot more. So thank you, Dev, for being here. And for a start, could you give us your introduction?
First of all, thanks a lot, Manan. It's a pleasure to kind of do this with you and give back in some way or the other to aspirants who want to do an MBA or just in general study abroad. So let me just first quickly give you an introduction. Like you said, I am based in Bombay. I run my family business. We've actually been in the foreign exchange industry since 1983. So I'm a third generation in the business. So we've had a fair share of success in this business. Right now, me and my dad are actively involved. And just to give you a brief, I'm born, brought up in Bombay. Did my schooling up until 12th grade in Bombay. Then went to the US, did my undergrad in the US. I graduated from Pace University in New York with a BBA in finance in 2010. Yeah, at that time was a relatively tough time to, kind of recruit. Though I would have been really glad to get a job, stick around for 3-4 years, get some outside experience. But it was a tough time, though. You decided to immediately move back to India. I ran our first, obviously, I was in training for about 6 to 9 months in our original foreign exchange business, which is the over-the-counter business, as we call it, where we deal with bank treasuries who are trading USD INR swaps. So it's all on the phone. It's a voice market, nothing electronic. It's crazy, but it was a great learning experience. And then obviously, after about a year, I really got entrenched into the business for about 3-4 years. Then we had a COO at the time, who I used to work very closely with, doing PR and stuff like that. But and then obviously we expanded the team, and today, touchwood, as we may have it, we're probably amongst the top 3 brokers in the country. So the volumes are just crazy. Then that's when in my 3rd and 4th year, that's when I said, I think this is a great time to kind of do the MBA. And, took the GMAT, decided to apply. And and then 14, 15, I was in the MBA. I always knew I wanted to come back, run the business, and came back and again joined our family business. So it's been an interesting journey since even the post MBA. Because a lot of stuff has happened, COVID has happened and all that kind of stuff, a lot of changes in our business. But it's been challenging, and definitely apart from running the business, I think the MBA was, the MBA was probably one of the most fulfilling years that I had, and I'm sure you can resonate, given that you did your MBA at ISB as well.
Yeah, as we call it, like best years of our lives there. So definitely, totally agree with the last part. So considering we are talking about study abroad and Forex is a big element. So why don't you tell me more about the business itself in terms of how do you help candidates who've gotten admits to all the schools across various programs? So how do you work and those kind of things?
So that's actually a brilliant question. As a part of our license, which we are licensed by RBI to operate in the retail forex markets, there are 2 verticals that we predominantly have. One is for the traveler who's moving in and out of the country, to take currency, forex cards, etc., etc. And then obviously we have the larger component of this of the foreign exchange industry, which is the student remittance business, right? And that give or take is about a $20 billion market. And having studied abroad, having seen the difficulties that my peers faced, we've seen it as a good opportunity, especially in the past 3-4 years, to kind of grow the business. And we can add value because we help people save money as compared to banks, etc. So our service is better because Forex is our core business as compared to a bank. Where if you go to a bank and you say you want to remit $25,000, he'll probably say, "Sir, this is the rate that you see it on the back of my on the board behind me. Take it or leave it." Pretty much, right? But we negotiate bulk deals with the bank. But I think the more challenging part for me has been to continually grow the business, to see how to run a family business in a startup style. Has been a real challenge. We're getting active on social media, understanding social media trends, because our target population is there, right? Students, parents, everyone is on social media.
Yeah.
And also my biggest challenge has been my biggest challenge has been, what else do we provide apart from foreign exchange, right? So in the past 2-3 years, we've got an interesting product where we can help students get education loans in the US. We've tied up with a neo bank based in the US where students can open their bank account before they even leave. So stuff like that. Like, we want to see how. Recently, in fact, we tied up with a company where we help give students a mobile, a SIM card. Sorry, not a mobile, but a SIM card. This is only for the US for the time being. But uh, in the past 2-3 years, we've seen a lot of anxiety from the parents, and how will my child open a bank account? How will my daughter get a cell phone and all that kind of stuff? So we are trying to see how we can solve these problems, and kind of add more touch points to the customer rather than just plain vanilla foreign exchange.
Totally makes sense. And when candidates or any aspirant wants to move abroad, they want a all-in-one solution, from loan to forex to bank account now, and even SIM cards. So definitely, I think moving in the right direction, and it would surely help the candidates, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah. So taking a step back again, when it comes to a business like yours, and the fact that you were doing it for 3-4 years before you even decided to go for an MBA, most of the people would think there's no need for an MBA. Family business hai, continuing with that, but what's the point, right? So why did you actually decide to go for one, and then how did you zero on Oxford?
Okay, so the plan always was to do an MBA. It is not that I woke up in after 4 years and said, "Ki abhi MBA, I want to do abhi karna hai," types. The plan was always like 4-5 years down the line that I want to do the MBA, and kind of I was working towards that, taking up leadership roles in our Forex associations and stuff like that. But let me answer the question a little more directly. Honestly, if you ask me, I learned a lot in the MBA because, as luck may have it, I did not have to worry about placements, right? So it helped me really concentrate on classes. I learned a lot of new things. Like in undergrad, we were never taught operations management. And, I have no qualms in admitting that when I thought of a factory, I was like, oh, this factory is the easiest thing. You put one button on, the machine gets started, and it's all hunky dory, right? So, and in the operations management class, obviously, our professor was fantastic. Um, he, they were able to, when you're being taught by world class professors, they kind of make you come back down to reality, and it's not about just pressing a button. Another such class is entrepreneurial finance, right? That time the startup boom was just starting in India. Companies were getting crazy valuations, but when you're only reading this in the newspaper, and when you actually go into the class and do the theory, it it helps you kind of put some method to the madness, though it may not always. And it also gives you a reality check that what you read about Flipkart at that time, Flipkart and Snapdeal and all 2014, is just 2 out of 10 success stories. And, basically just enlarges your horizon to a whole new level. And the second and the most important thing I feel is network. Right today, the world is so closely knit. Um, globalization is at accelerating at exponential paces, and just having a world network is fabulous. It's not, I never look at it that, oh, I went to the MBA and I'm going to start a business with one of my classmates, or how can I use my classmates to kind of, for my work or whatever. It's all about making friends, right? One of my best friends in India, he makes fun of me. He's like, you put a map on the country and probably you put a finger on a map of the country and probably Deva has a friend there.
Yeah.
So it's great, right? To, like, when you're visiting, you get to visit friends.
Yeah.
So, and when you hang out with a 90+% international class, your perspective completely changes. So I think I would totally encourage anyone who's doing a family business to, kind of go do the MBA. If you have the opportunity, don't think of it as a, I have my family business. Who do I need to show the degree to?
Yeah.
You don't need to show it to anyone, to be very honest with you. But it's more about gathering a wholesome perspective, rather than, and learning, right? At all times.
Yeah. So you had other schools and regions in mind as well when you decided, or it was always supposed to be UK?
So I'll tell you a funny story. No, it was not always supposed to be UK. So I gave my GMAT. I got a 670, which is obviously in the lower range of the good score. I came back home, and one of my friends, she helped me with my applications. She's an education consultant as well. And I went straight to her office and I discussed my list with her. And I was like, if I'm spending this kind of money, I want to do it at a top school. So that was actually my criteria. And I applied to ISB. I applied to UK. In the UK, I applied to Oxford and LBS. And in the US, I applied to HBS, Stern, and Tuck. Got into ISB and Oxford, got waitlisted at LBS and Tuck, and got rejected by HBS and NYU. So, and then my dad was like, I don't know why you're doing this. You should be applying to other schools. You're, being very overconfident, this, that. And to be honest with you, I keep telling this to people, like, once you have a good GMAT score or an above average GMAT score, and you have 4, 5, 6 years of experience, whether it's family business, whether it's entrepreneurial or not, you are automatically motivated to send out a fabulous application.
Yes.
The quality of your application is a byproduct of your GMAT score.
Yeah.
Because the motivation is just next level. And trust me, I gave my GMAT in mid-November, and I got out all my applications by January. So I had really compacted the entire, 2-3 months that people take into 1.5 months. So I was just motivated to kind of work hard on my applications, and so there was no focus on कि मुझे UK में ही करना है or anything like that. But it was, I guess, it just fell into my lap as such. Nice. So that being said, I think ISB is also fantastic, without a doubt. And I would always encourage anyone. Not that I regret my decision of going to Oxford, but I think given if I had both the offers in hand today, I think I would give ISB a lot more thought than I did at that time. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, ISB is great. Largely a regional school, I would still say. I would still say it's there, even though, I'm an alum, but that's a fact, right? In India, obviously, it's great. And Oxford, slightly more global brand, I would say. And, the world opens up in that case, right?
Yeah.
So I think a wise choice, definitely, if you wanted to go out. And on the point about, high GMAT score and giving it your all, contrary, if somebody has a lower GMAT score and they're targeting, it's actually a lot more hunger to get through despite the lower score. So maybe they work doubly or triply hard when
you have to find a way to make that up, right? Those 20, 30 points, you have to find a way to make those up. Yeah.
Great. So you did that. You came back. So immediate benefits. When did you start to see? Okay, like Oxford MBA done and back in India, family business. Did you kind of feel that there was a change in perspective in terms of how you used to approach things and all that? And successes. Post that. How did that happen?
So I'll tell you, immediate benefits. I can't really recollect. It's been a while, but I still continue to see the way I think. I feel. I'll tell you the reason for this, Manan. And I keep telling this to people as well. I was like, when we are studying these cases, okay, there are two things that we kind of learn. And I mean, now I feel I have learned that because I can put it into perspective. Is number one, that all huge companies also may not make the best decisions. Okay. All huge companies also face failure in certain decisions. And that shouldn't deter you from being bold enough to make a decision. We had a case study. I'll give you an example on the A380. Not Boeing kind of knew the writing on the wall. Airbus knew the writing on the wall. A380 is probably not going to be the most successful project. But they still went ahead with it. And as you know, it has not been the most successful project. So it's fine. I mean, I think these case studies really kind of, some of them stick with you. It's been 7 years that I've graduated, but some of them still stick with you. That, how these companies overcome challenges. Though at my level, the problems might be significantly smaller, but still, kind of applying the methodology as to how these companies have overcome these problems. And the best part is that today, with the student business, we are in a kind of a growth phase sort of situation. And it's fantastic because when I run into problems, like typical growth problems, I was like, Arey, Coca-Cola also had the same problem. Microsoft again had the same problem.
You had the perspective,
Apple had the same problem. So that means we are doing something right. That it's not all hunky-dory for all the big companies in the world when they are at growth stage. So because we only read about the good things, right? And when you're put into that classroom with 80 other really smart and really intelligent people, I'm sure you can vouch for it. The discussion is just at another level. It is, for all you know, you might have had someone who's worked at Airbus, or you might have had someone who's worked at Microsoft or Coca-Cola, so, and they might have worked on such a project. You might have someone from the military who's able to kind of solve an ops problem a lot better and faster than you can, because they've done this day in and day out, right? Correct. So I still continue to see the benefits. Okay, maybe not about always applying the 2x2 matrix, or not always, but somehow kind of scientific science. There's some in all these fundas, as they call it, all these, there is some science in it. So at some point, you do end up applying some of it, if not all of it.
Same thing for me, right? If you ask me what are the tangible results, maybe the network and all that, but more importantly, that perspective, right? I sometimes realize when I approach similar problems that I used to encounter in the past, I would have thought differently. And to what you mentioned, right, about Apple and thinking about, okay, Apple would have done this and that. Maybe pre-MBA, that thought would not have come. You would have thought Apple is such a big company. It's a North Star. There's no way I even, should think about it. Right? It's like saying, Sachin hi banna hai kya tumko bade hoke and all that. Whereas you have the potential, right? So you can always relate to it. So that's great. And now, you graduated in 2015, right? It's almost 5 to 7 years since then. The landscape has changed in terms of ventures and entrepreneurship in the country and all that. And then now there is a lot of talk about no MBA or alt MBA, wherein you don't have to spend so much, there are no barriers, etc., etc. So, do you think it's still relevant for a family business or running a venture itself? Right? Do you think MBA is still relevant this day and age?
Hands down, I don't think there is any alternative to an MBA program, right? And I would highly encourage and anyone who is doing an MBA that don't think I'm lazy right now, I can't do the GMAT, I'll climb up the corporate ladder and then do an executive MBA. Those programs are great, but I feel MBA has a different charm to itself, right? Um, because in the MBA, you are when you're doing an MBA at a top 20, top 25, top 30 school, um, you are probably dealing with some of the brightest minds in the world, and you have kind of earned your place there, or you won a seat there in that class of 200, 300, and in the top bigger schools 1000 students, right? Acceptances as low as 8, 9, 10%, um, 10, 15% sometimes. I mean, you definitely have something in you when you reach that goal. So most definitely, I would encourage. I don't think an MBA is redundant. I don't think an MBA teaches. Let me put it the other way. I don't think an on job or climbing up the corporate ladder is a substitute for doing an MBA. Right? What the MBA teaches you is something very unique. Is something very different, and so I would definitely say there's no alternative.
Okay. I think it's just a question of probability, right? I think risk-taking capability increases too,
Yeah,
if not anything else, right?
for
And
sure.
bang in the middle of the pandemic, I thought, okay, let me just quit my job and focus full time on admissions consulting. And I knew, right, somewhere job to ho jayega. So I think that is the confidence. If not anything else, I think that is something that it gives you at least. So
Yeah. And that's again, right? The risk taking ability is something that you learn from what you read, right? Like all your case studies, I know at ISB they teach the same level of case studies that they would at any other school. Again, ISB is again a top 20, top 25 program.
Yeah.
So I think it's just inherent. It's just that inherent thing that you walk out with after 1 year. Yeah, I can be a risk taker.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you work with a lot of young folks going abroad for study, for work. So, what is that one piece of financial advice that you would give them?
Don't buckle to peer pressure, right? All of us have different capabilities in terms of resources. All of us know it. Yes, whether you're going for an undergrad or a grad or an MBA program, um, just keep in mind your roots, right? Um, like when you go for an MBA, it's the 1 year that everyone is really looking to splurge.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to school ever after this, right? And yeah, it's okay to do it once in a while, but not all year long.
Yeah.
At that point, you can afford it. When you're going for an MBA, you can afford it. At an undergraduate level, I think the biggest thing that I learned was, sticking to a budget. I'm grateful that if I called back home and I wanted a few $100 extra, my parents could afford it, but I didn't misuse it. Let me put it that way, right? I didn't lead a luxurious life, but I didn't I lived a comfortable life, right? Where it's not that I was compromising on necessities, I was compromising on luxuries.
Okay.
Right? Then slowly you do an on-campus job, you earn a little bit of extra pocket money. Then you want to splurge that little bit from your money. Okay, fine.
Yes, yes.
It's not justified, but chalo, that at least you at that point in time you learn to value the money that is in your pocket.
Correct.
So don't buckle to peer pressure. This is a great opportunity, at the undergraduate level, this is a great opportunity for young adults to kind of become responsible because, in India, we're always kind of sheltered up until the age,
Yes.
as long as we are living at home, we're always sheltered.
Yes.
We've never really paid an electricity bill at the age of 18. We never paid a mobile bill at the age of 18. We've never really gone and opened our own bank account at the age of 18. So, all these things are very important when it teaches you survival.
Yeah.
It teaches you survival. So, yeah, I think these 2-3 things would be my advice to anyone going abroad to study.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So, final question, parting thoughts. Been a great discussion. So, now people are applying to these schools. Round one has just finished, let's say for Oxford itself, right? So, from an application admission standpoint, what would be your closing comments to those folks?
Don't be shy or scared to sell yourself. If you have done it, like, हम बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में छाती फाड़ के, you should be proud of it. And, don't feel that, oh, what will the admissions committee think? Am I showing off too much? It's your platform, right? I mean, it's your application, it's your essay. If you have done it, mind you, if you have done it, if you have achieved a certain target or you've achieved multiple targets, or because of achieving those multiple targets, you really got a double promotion, whatever it is, right? Definitely talk about it. Definitely mention it in those essays. Don't BS in your essays, because if you BS, it is going to get caught, because you will not be able to talk about it in your interview when you make that interview round. So I would not encourage you to BS, but use the application as a platform to show off, as long as you have done all the good work that you have done in whatever the past 4, 5, 7 years, 10 years of your working life, and before also. So don't feel shy, don't feel afraid, don't feel scared that what are they going to think, that they're boasting, this applicant is boasting too much. No, if you achieved it, hands down, share it.
Yeah. If you don't believe in yourself, why are you expecting others to do that? So
Exactly.
Great. This was really great. Thank you, Dev, for taking out time, speaking with the audience, and all the best for your growth phase. I'm sure a lot of applicants listening to you would come back to you. I hope for them, their sake as well, because they get admits, and for your sake as well, that the business grows. So thank you so much for taking out time, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
It's my pleasure, Manan. Thanks a lot for doing this. I hope I've added some value to you guys and to all the applicants who are going to tune in. But yeah, happy to do more sessions like this, and I will definitely try and catch you when I'm in Delhi.
Sure. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you. Take care.
See you, Manan. Have a good evening.